Coming up next, I'll tell you which industries are bouncing back during the pandemic and then how the presidential election affects your work future. We'll take your calls and your chats, and it all starts now. I am coming to you live from Ramsey Studios in Nashville, and you are joining a conversation. A conversation about who you are, what you were created to do, where you can and want to do that, and then how do you get there? How do you make the dream job a reality? Well, we're going to start with stage 1 of the 7 stages. It's like a climb up a mountain, and that's get clear. We're going to help you get qualified, and then we're going to help you get connected. Then we're going to help you get started. Then we're going to help you get promoted and get the dream job to then give yourself away. That's the journey. Those are the 7 stages. What stage are you in? Because this stuff really matters. This isn't about success. This is about significance. If you find significance in your work, you'll have plenty of success. We believe here on the Ken Coleman Show that you were created to fill a unique role in your work. That means you are needed, and you must do it. And so we want to help you figure that out. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. You can also email your question to the show, ask@kencoleman.com. You can submit your question via social media, on Instagram, @KenColeman. We would love to hear from you. Now, the other way to engage in the program right now is the chat room, which is next to the video window. You can fire your questions to us, make them short, sweet, to the point, and we'll get to the laptop here a little bit later in the program. But first, I love bringing you folks relevant, up-to-date information about the state of work. New report that came out from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. In their September employment figures, we saw that 661,000 jobs were added to the United States economy last month. However, there is a very interesting trend here in the economic recovery, and this is quite honestly very sad, and it will slightly frustrate those of you who understand the policies that our politicians have put on us to protect us, and how it's actually harming our economy and real Americans. So it turns out that more affluent Americans, higher wage earners, are recovering faster than others, and that's unfortunate. And the reason is because white-collar jobs have rebounded from the initial shock of COVID and the job losses that came with it, versus the hourly wage earner, the mid to lower wage. Those jobs have not come back. Why? Well, if you look at where a lot of those jobs are in the service industry, so let's look at tourism, restaurants, bars, all the things that have been shut down in so many areas, that affects a lot of people. Also, retail, they're taking a big hit. Employment in clothing and clothing accessory stores is around 25% below pre-pandemic totals, versus general merchandise stores is 6% higher than pre-pandemic levels. So think your Walmarts, your Targets, things like that, because people can get groceries, they can get all the household goods, pick up some basic clothing and some things of that nature that maybe they would go to a mall or to a direct retail store for that. Not doing that as much. Employment for couriers and messengers is about 10% higher than its pre-pandemic level, unlike other industries in this particular area. So again, the delivery, the courier, all that kind of stuff, high demand right now. Industry that sell essential items like food delivery, grocery stores, obviously are doing very, very well. So if you are in that situation where, Ken, I just need a day job, I can't even afford to even go for the dream job right now. I understand that. You got to take care of the essentials, what matters most. And if you've got to get 2 or 3 jobs delivering stuff, do it. COVID has not stolen your dream. It has not removed your purpose. So if you got to get a couple of day jobs and you got to step into that area, swallow your pride. You're not the only one who's been displaced and disrupted by this pandemic, and you will get back up on your feet. And the very act that you need to take to get you back up on your feet is swallowing your pride and go getting whatever work you can in these areas, because there are jobs available in this country. So be encouraged and get after it. 844-747-2577 coming up. A little bit later in the program, I'm going to take on the presidential election, but I'm not going to look at it from a political standpoint. We're going to look at it from a purpose standpoint. How does the presidential election actually affect your future? You might be surprised. Stay tuned, I'll tell you. But first, we get to the phones. Jeremy joins us in Cincinnati, Ohio. Jeremy, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey there, Ken. I hope you can hear me okay.
I hear you loud and clear, sir. What's going on?
So I'm calling because I need some help. I'm really trying to figure out my sweet spot. I have an idea of what I want to do, what I feel like is really speaking on my heart, and I just need some help confirming that and how to go from there.
Great. Tell me what it is.
So basically, I've really been feeling on my heart that I want to find a way to help people improve their overall health, their finances and their well-being, maybe somewhere along the lines of like a life coach. I just really want to make sure this is really what I want to do, that I'm not really, really acting kind of crazy or whatnot. This is really what my heart is telling me to do.
Well, what makes you doubt that? What makes you doubt? What makes you think that maybe this is some fantastical idea that has no foundation behind it?
Basically, for the past 8 years, I've been working in the same industry, which has been warehousing. So I really don't have any skills to really accommodate what I want to do.
Okay. Well, let's test that, because that's huge. If in fact you don't have the talent to pull this off, it's not your sweet spot, correct?
Yeah.
All right. Your sweet spot is at the intersection of talent, passion, mission. In other words, you use your talent to perform your passion, to produce your mission. You use what you do best to do work you love, to produce a result that matters to you. That's how we figure out our purpose at work. That's the sweet spot. So the question is, are you just dealing with doubt because you've only worked in a warehouse? Or do you actually have the talent to be a life coach or a health coach or a financial coach? Because you kind of lumped in health and finances into all of that, okay?
Yes.
So what are your top 3 talents? If I went and interviewed everybody that knows you and I said, tell me what Jeremy does better than anything else, what would they tell me?
They would definitely tell you I connect really well with people. I'm able to demonstrate how things work, basically like, how we're doing, how we process what we do at our job, how to do A, B, C, and D pretty well, and just overall a good listener as well.
Okay. So here's what I wrote down. Okay. I'm synthesizing what you just told me. I've got your top 3 talents as connection, the ability to connect with people. And everybody understands what that means. Then I wrote down instruction, and then I wrote down communication. So I've got connection, instruction, communication. Those are your top 3 talents. Is that true or false?
That is true.
Okay, great. So the work that you love to do, there's going to be a direct correlation between those top 3 talents and the type of work you love to do. So what's the work that you really love to do? If you're just doing this all day, every day, you're feeling the juice, man. You're feeling gratitude when you drive home. What's the work itself? Think of the task or the function or the role you play. What is it? Give me top 3.
Really just overall, just one is definitely helping people. I just really enjoy just helping people, making sure they're satisfied in doing their task, what we have to do during the day. Also,
you're good. Keep going. Go back to your answers. If a guy who's really good at connection and instruction and communication, what kind of work is that guy going to want to do all day long? I wrote down serving people. You love serving others.
Yes.
All right. But you love what? If you've got the talent of instruction, what would you love to do with that all day?
I would want to train people.
There we go. Hey, now we're rolling, Jeremy. Come on, man. Let's go. Be confident because you're giving me the truth. So trust the truth about yourself. So a guy who's good at instruction wants to do the work of training. A guy who's gifted at communication is going to want to do the work of
teaching.
There we go. Teaching, training, instructing, lifting, encouraging, guiding. Come on, man. I can go all day long. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's the result? Now let's go over to mission. The result of that work of serving, training, lifting, encouraging, guiding. You want to see what result? What are the results that you want to use that work to create? What are the results that matter most to you? Say it. You've already said it earlier, so don't stumble on this. Just blurt it out. Go.
I want people to be in a better position in their life of just being more healthy, just being better than what they were. Okay. So is in fact a health coach or life coach or financial coach, because there are multiple ways. That's what I tell people. There's more than one way to really be in the dream job. The actual job title and location is flexible. It's all about, am I using what I do best to do work I love, to produce results that make my heart sing? So I'm hearing health keeps coming up a little bit more. Is it money? Is it health? Is it relationships? What is it? What if you could only pick one successful coaching business, what would it be? Who would you be helping? Who are the people you most want to help? The problem that they have and the solution you want to provide. That answers mission. Say it. Answer the question. Go. It would definitely be in the health space.
Yeah. Tell me the people you most want to help. Say it. Describe them.
People like me who have really had issues dealing with their weight and have really done everything that they can do possible to really improve their overall well-being. And that's something I've really taken myself, really put myself in a position to really do, is really work on my health and be better than what I've been.
Bingo! There it is, Jeremy. You want to do for others what you've done for yourself. You want to do for others what others did for you that got you to this place of healthiness. I've said many times on this program, if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not your why. Now, I'm not saying you got to walk around every time you talk about what you want to do and start breaking out into, you know what I mean? I'm not talking about that. But the idea is that the very idea of doing this work and seeing the result of other people's life change because they lose 150 pounds, and as a result, they feel better about themselves and they become better husbands or better brothers or better workers or whatever. They live 20 years longer. That ought to get you a little dusty-eyed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And my wife has said this so well, so I always have to give my wife credit, but she says out of great pain, many times comes great passion. And as you begin to describe the people you want to help, you were describing yourself. That's pretty good. Because you know what they're going through, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
You know where they can get to, don't you?
Yes.
So I think it's not life coach, although that's possible. You could develop into a life coach, but I think ultimately you need to be in the nutrition and exercise space. And whether that's a physical trainer or a nutritional coach, or maybe you get all those qualifications. But I think that's the space you need to be in, because that's going to get you up on Monday mornings, because you're going to be fired up even when you don't feel good, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy, I think you know what your sweet spot is, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, you're in stage 1. You're clear. Now it's about getting qualified. Stage 2, you're ready to walk into stage 2. And while you're in stage 2 of getting qualified, you need to get connected. Hang on the line. I'm going to give you my #1 best-selling book, The Proximity Principle, which says in order to do what Jeremy wants to do, he's got to be around people that are doing it and in places where it is happening. And so hang on the line, Jeremy. Madison's going to get you the version of that book that you need. And then you just take off and you get after it. 844-747-2577. Let's go to San Rafael, California. Julia is on the line there. Julia, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet, Julia. How can I help today?
Well, okay, I have a brief intro, and then I have my question.
Okay.
So I actually called you 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm kind of following up, and I have another question. So I was transitioning out of teaching, and I wanted to have my own business ultimately. So sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it. So we discussed that I was going to test out some kind of like training and teaching, which I did. So I'm kind of at a new stage. So my husband and I are currently in California. We just bought a house in Oregon. So we're moving next week.
Okay.
And I've kind of been deciding what to do now for a job.
Okay.
Because I'm not necessarily tied to what I'm doing currently or an industry. And I'm just wondering when to go for our goal of having our own business versus kind of just getting a job to pay the mortgage.
Well, financially, how much money do you need to be contributing?
Like per year?
Yeah. I mean, you just told me that what I'm trying to get, I can't answer your question until you tell me where you stand financially. So when you moved to Oregon, the way you said it a minute ago made me feel like you have to work and bring in a certain amount of money to be able to help with the mortgage and the household bills. Am I wrong? That you don't have to work right now?
No, yeah. So we will have to work. So that's where.
Okay, so how much do you need to generate for your family budget to be where it needs to be? How much will you need to make in a year? Yes.
I think if in a year
or month, I don't care if it helps you. Just what's your budget and what do you need to bring into the budget? Because that determines whether or not you need to start a business right now.
Right, exactly. I think we were looking at each making at least like around $50,000 a year minimum.
Okay. And do you have any debt?
No debt, just the mortgage.
Wonderful. So what's the business that you want to start?
So ultimately we want to do either something with animals. We kind of just want to have property and do like a bed and breakfast animal rescue type thing.
Hold on a second. All right, hold on. I'm confused. Bed and breakfast for animals? You can't possibly mean that. You just mean bed and breakfast.
Well, it could be if we're animal boarding, but no, like people would come stay and maybe we happen to also do something with animals on our property at the same time. So people are visiting and see animals.
Okay. All right. So would you live on this property?
Ideally, yeah.
Well, then I don't think you can start the business until you are actually living on the property because the capital outlay for something like that would be in an additional mortgage or ideally not an additional mortgage. I would never, got to be careful what I say here. You would have to pay cash for a property. So you're not in a position
property now. Right. It has some room. So we're hoping to do that at some point. But I guess, it's mainly like, what do I do now while we wait for something like that to be ready? Because I'm one of those multi-passionate people that can't really see myself doing any one thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the good news. Okay, so now I'm completely caught up. I needed to be able to know all the different plates spinning for me to be able to give you this advice. Right. If this property that you are going to move on to in Oregon will support a B&B, which means you'd have to either build a house eventually, an additional dwelling on this property, and then you got room for the animals. If that's a place where you can do this eventual business idea, great. If it's not, then you go move now and you get after it and you try to make a minimum $50,000 in a day job that you're not miserable at. So it's not a sweet spot job. If you want it to be and you can find it, great. But in this situation, I'm okay with you stepping into a job that's not in your sweet spot if it's a day job and it's getting you further down the path. So what I mean by that is you just go get a job making 50 or more using your talent, what you do best. And just, you got a mindset of gratitude. I'm thankful that I'm making this money. Every day every time I get a paycheck, it's getting me closer to the goal because we have no debt and we're saving money like crazy. Maybe you work a second job in the area on a farm with animals so that somebody pays you money and you're learning how to do an eventual business. You know, I like to be very strategic. While I'm waiting on the dream to happen, I want to be doing something that prepares me for the dream. That's the mindset I always take. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So that's the point right there, and that's what you do. And then maybe you sell this property in 2 or 3 years that you're on, maybe make a nice chunk of change, and then you go buy that dream property. And, you know, so I don't know if this is a 5-year play or a 7-year play, and you need to be okay if it's a 10-year play. I mean, it was a 9-year play for me to get into the dream job. 9 years to step into the national syndicated Ken Coleman Show and all the stuff. Okay, 9 years. It was absolutely worth it. But you know, to do this right to me is as big of a deal. It takes as long as it takes me to get into national broadcasting. You don't just walk into it. You got to really work your butt off. And you got to be really faithful in the little. So I think buying a property that's got 2 dwellings on it to where you live, or if you live in the same dwelling, you B&B it, and you got animals where you have people come out and, touch a llama or whatever in the world that you do, you got to really think through that. And it's going to take some years to get to that point. And so in that season of saving, I want you to be learning. Okay. And I think if you do that, and if you're patient, then it's going to happen for you. But right now, you need a day job, maybe a day job and a half, just to save up money as quickly as possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
Do you have my book, The Proximity Principle?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Today you do. Hang on, Madison, let's get her whatever version that Julia prefers, hard copy, ebook, or audiobook, read to you by me.
Ooh, thank you so much.
Yeah, here's the deal. You've got to read it and do this. Because this book was written for people who know where they want to go, but they're not quite sure how to get there. And you need to get in proximity to people that are running B&Bs, that are running animal farms, and that involve some type of a local tourism, stuff like that, okay? That's going to be worth $1 million, and I'm giving you the book for free, all right? So there you go. 844-747-2577. Hey, big announcement. I'm super excited about this. Tomorrow, here on our YouTube show, we're going to go to another special format. We do this from time to time. I'm going to be doing it more as I bring in my friends of Ken. And tomorrow is a special treat. And we're going to be focusing the entire program on your questions about leadership issues. So you're in a workplace where you love the work, but you don't like the culture, or you love the work, but you can't stand your coworkers or your leader. What do I do, Ken? We get this question all the time. How about those of you who actually want to be in leadership? Maybe you're in your first management, or you're early on in your management leadership career, and you want to get better at it. Well, one of the best-selling authors on leadership in the last 20 years is Pat Lencioni. Pat's a friend of mine. He's got a new book out called The Motive, and it's specifically about leaders, how they get the right motive. But we're also going to talk about his wildly best-selling book, The Ideal Team Player. We're going to talk about those 3 qualities: hungry, humble, and smart. So if you've got a question that you'd love to ask Pat, a leadership question, come right to Pat and I. He's going to be sitting right here in the studio with me. Pat and I have known each other a while. We have tremendous fun with each other. It's going to be a wildly fun program, and we want to focus in on leadership type questions, the one that I just laid out. So if that's you, don't miss tomorrow, 12 Eastern time, live. Madison will be standing by. Just call in, or I guess you can email her today, ask@kencoleman.com, and we'll move you to the top of the line. We're going to have a lot of fun. So special edition. We're going to focus on leadership in the workplace, and that's very relevant to many of you. I mean, how do I deal with a boorish leader, a leader who's clueless, a weak leader? Oh, my goodness. We will open up the tuna can, and it's going to be really, really good. So don't miss that tomorrow, 844-747-2577. Okay, let's go to the chat room. TXDoc. I like that. Texas Doc, I do believe. Oh, this is funny. Joe, how about this question after I just teased tomorrow's show? What do I do about a yelling boss?
Nice.
I can't make this stuff up, folks. I teased tomorrow's show. Boom, in the chat room, here it comes. So this will give you a taste of tomorrow, because it is my show. My name's back there. I will weigh in on Pat's answers. I know a few things about leadership as well. What do I do about a yelling boss? I love my job and my team, including the boss, but I'm frustrated because I don't know how to respond without yelling back. What should I do? I wish this was a phone call, because this is where I need to really dive deep. But let me take a stab at kind of guiding you through this. The fact that you love your boss, despite the fact that the boss yells at you, that's a good sign that there's a good person behind this anger. And so what's happening is the boss has got anger issues. Now, a lot of people think anger is not good, but anger is good. And we need to understand that as a society. Anger is an emotion that actually we need to function properly. But it is all how we handle the anger. But anger can get us to a place where we get healthy and where we resolve things. But it is how we manifest the anger outwardly and inwardly that can cause a lot of problems. So you've got to start with empathy. You already love your boss. That makes you a wonderful person. You love them because they are, in fact, lovable on some level. So we start with that. So have some empathy. Hurting people hurt people. So really, you've got to ask yourself, do I have the relationship with my boss that would allow me to have a one-on-one privately and ask questions, not make statements? Ask questions like, hey, how are you doing? You doing okay? Why? Why do you ask? Well, you seem agitated. Such a great person. Feels like you're yelling a lot, raising your voice a lot. What's going on? Are we triggering you as a team? Do I contribute to that? Because I don't want to do that. Boy, that's a conversation that most people won't be willing to have. But if you can come at it that way with a humble strength, and they need to feel like you care about them, and you do. Now, the degree to which they open up, you cannot control. But I think it's worth having that conversation and say, hey, we love you. We love this place. But there's a lot of tension here. And we just want it to be a healthier place. And I'm a big fan. So I just wanted you to know that when you do that, here's what's happening. And is there anything we can do to be better, to help? What are the triggers? You okay? Just concerned. But love working here. Want to keep working with you. Just this is causing a little bit of tension. And I don't want that to eventually affect you and the team. Now listen. First of all, folks, I have the spiritual gift of confrontation. So like that kind of conversation that I just role played for you, very easy for me. I want to I just want to put it out there that that's easy for me. But I also acknowledge that that's not easy for a lot of people. However, high doses of humility, high doses of empathy, and then that conversation has a chance to yield something. All right, let's go to Carolina. She writes in, I'm 2 years in to a $60,000 master's degree. Uh-oh. And I have discovered it's not my passion. What should I do? Oh my goodness. I got a headache all of a sudden, like right here. I got a searing headache for Carolina. Please call me. You got to call me. I can't even answer this question effectively because I don't know what's going on. But I will tell you the first thing I'd do if you called me is I'd say, why do you think it's not your passion? What was the discovery that's led you to believe it's not your passion? I need to double check something there. I want to make sure what's going on here. But once we clarified that it's not your passion, it's okay. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to coach you up. And I'm going to say, first of all, you're not a loser. You're not an idiot. Just because you've discovered this, it's okay to stop. Go, well, I'm 2 years in. I'm not going to spend any more money on it. I'm not going to spend any more time on it. I think you got to look at the law of diminishing returns. Is it valuable for you since you're 2 years in? If it's still somewhat valuable, let's see if we just can finish, or is it better to pause, stop altogether? These are things that I don't know off the cuff, but you've got to walk through that. And then you got to be okay getting your head up and walking out, and everybody you know, friends and family, you got to be okay with them looking at you like, what? You quit? Why'd you quit? Because we still have a majority of people in this world that are like sheep when it comes to college degrees. Bah, bah, it's the thing to do. Just do it. It's good for you. No, not all the time. There are a lot of master's degrees that aren't worth the paper they're printed on. Oh boy, I just really freaked some people out on that one, Joe. But it's true. And we don't live in a world anymore where a college degree is the best way or the only way. It is in certain fields, still absolutely the case, but not across the board. And we've been sold a marketing message from about the 1950s. Colleges started sending a marketing message out, and we, the people, swallowed it whole. Higher education is the only way to success. And in the 70s, we put posters in classrooms of high school students that showed a dude in overalls with a giant wrench on his shoulder, and it said, work hard. It said, work hard. And it showed a kid with a college degree and his little cap and gown, his little tassels, and a bright $1 million gigawatt smile. There it is right there on the screen. It says, work smart, not hard. So the kid with the degree is holding it out like this, like a giant jerk. Look at me, right? And he's more successful than the guy who's probably owning that business that he's holding that wrench with. And so we sent a marketing message to the American people that said, work smart, get a college degree, not hard, be in the trades. And I'm telling you, guess what area of the economy, Joe, didn't slow down during COVID? Tell us, Joe.
That would be old blue-collar workers, per se.
Yes, the trades. The trades are still looking for people. So who's smart now? All right, I'm not going to get off on that rabbit trail today, but any chance I can to help spread the message, you parents out there, to stop forcing your kids into a degree they can't afford and cannot use, I will do it. And you can get a little uncomfortable with me. I don't care. Because I'm speaking truth. I've done my homework. Go do your research. And if a college degree is not the best way or the only way, then don't do it. Nobody gives a flying crud where you went to school. I'm letting you soak on that for a minute. I'll give you an example for those of you who are still cynical about what I'm saying. Last time you went to the doctor, as the doctor walked into the exam room, did you ask the doctor to pull his diploma off of the wall or her diploma off of the wall? Last time you went to the dentist, did you say, hey, what dentist school did you go to? And where did that rank? No, you didn't. You laid down in there and let them work on your teeth.
Last time you were flying somewhere, did you go up in the cockpit and go, excuse me?
Very good point, Joe.
Where did you go to college?
Yeah. How many of you are knocking on the old door to the pilot? Hey, excuse me, sir. I'd like to know where you went to school, please. Nobody does this. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. You know what they care about? Can you solve their problem? That's what people care about. End of story. All right. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. All right. I went on a rant, so we might as well go right into our teaching segment. And, Joe, Nathan and Madison, you know what time of year it is, don't you? It's election time, and everybody is worked up into a frenzy. I mean, whether you are a liberal or a conservative or a Republican or a Democrat or an independent, you're all, what the world's going on? The sky is falling. If you watch the news, the fate of civilization swings on the hinge of the election result. Oh my goodness, the world is going to come to an end depending on what special interest group you're in or what side of the aisle you vote on. So I want to talk to you about something. How does the presidential election affect your future? And some of you are like, well, it's everything. Oh, the world's going to fall into the ocean if Trump's reelected, or if Biden's elected, we're going to lose all of our freedom, whatever it is, whatever your position is. I got news for you. Write this down. Policy doesn't change your purpose. Policy from Washington, D.C., whether it be Congress or the White House, and the way that our framers set up our Constitution and our form of government, the White House isn't as important as you think it is, and it's not as important as you've been told that it is. Is it important? Sure. But we've got a balanced government. We have a separation of powers. It's a beautiful construct, no matter how much people complain about our country. Our form of government is a beautiful, beautiful setup because of the separation of powers. I'm not lecturing on that today. You heard that lesson, hopefully in the 6th grade. However, here's what you need to hear. Policy, whether it's Trump policy or Biden policy, does not change your purpose. I start off every show by saying you were created to fill a unique role in and through your work. That means you are needed and you must do it. I don't care who the president is. That sentence does not change. Are there policies that will affect our lives? Of course. But I didn't say your life. I said your purpose. And you will adapt. You can go to the polls mad the next time around, or you can get involved politically, whatever it is. But the point is that COVID didn't change your purpose, and policy and the president won't change your purpose. You still are a human being that was created to make a difference in this world, relationally and professionally. You make a difference in the world. You are created to fill a role in your relationships, and you are created to fill a role in the workplace. That is indisputable. And so don't get all hung up on all of the craziness and all the predictions and all the polls and all of the riots or whatever is going to happen. Let it happen. You get up and you do these 3 things. Here you go. 3 things that I'm going to give to you to help you get through this presidential election. Number 1, ignore the noise. Ignore the noise. Oh my gosh. The noise. Ignore it. Be careful what you look at. Be careful what you read. It'll affect you big time. Be careful who you talk to in the office. Get laser focused. Stay laser focused. So ignore the noise. The only voice you need to be listening to every day is the voice that's coming from your heart, and it's informing your brain. This is what I was created to do. I've got a plan. I know that the plan's going to change, but I know ultimately the plan's going to get me where I'm supposed to be. So that's what I'm going to listen to. I know what's right for me, and I know what I believe is right, and nobody's going to change my mind, and I'm probably not going to change anybody else's. Ignore the noise. Number 2, get better. Focus on getting better. This is your growth. You get better. You keep learning. You keep experiencing new things with that learning. You keep getting better. You keep challenging yourself. Get better. Number 3, don't forget what this is all about in the first place, this life. Help somebody. Even if you're in stage 2, which is get qualified, or stage 3, which is get connected, or maybe you've just stepped into stage 4, which is get started. Just help somebody. You got to say it that way too, George. You know, we Southerners, I'm biased, but we Southerners say certain words and say certain phrases better than the rest of you folks because we put a little emphasis on it. It's help somebody, right? That's help somebody. Lady out there knows what I'm talking about. You from the South? She knows. You don't say help somebody. Help somebody. I emphasized that so much I choked. Help somebody. Like just where you are, whoever's in front of you, get up, get out, and help somebody. Just help somebody. I mean, the world would be a better place if we did more of that. And here's an even more crazy idea. Help somebody that doesn't believe the way you believe. Help somebody that doesn't vote the way you vote. Help somebody that doesn't pray the way you pray. Help somebody that doesn't live the way you live. Help somebody. See, I've said this before on the show. I'm not going to stop saying it. The reason I'm so passionate about being on talk radio, I've had a lot of people ask me, Ken, with podcasting and YouTube, because we're on YouTube obviously right now, why would you be on talk radio? Why would you do Sirius XM? Because I think this conversation needs to happen on all mediums. TV, I'm coming your way soon. What unites every one of us on the planet is that we all want to make a difference. We just want to know that we've contributed to this world. That's the single unifier. You could also say we all want to be loved. But it's really those two things. We want to be loved. We want to know that we made a difference. Do you notice me? Do you love me? This is really what we're after as humans. So don't forget that in these political times and all this stuff. Listen, if we unite as people around the things that we all agree on, which is we all want to be loved and we all want to make a difference in this world, then we can actually do both of those things. So just something to think about. In the craziness of this time, those three things: ignore the noise, get better, help somebody. There it is, Joe. My time is almost up, but before I let you go, I want you to know that you matter and you do have what it takes. Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.